Oh, says Spit, is it already time for another episode of the Infernal Brotherhood of Scruffy Looking Nerf Herders? I wonder what they got cooking for us this week. Inform Lord Vader at once and tell him to bring me that rebel scum.
Welcome to the Infernal Brotherhood of the Scruffy Looking Nerf Herders! Live! And hopefully being able to talk to each other. We're having a little bit of internet problems.
Hey!
Are you there? Son of a bitch! Oh, man.
Hey, I'm back. I'm back, I think.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Welcome back.
Oh, cool. Hey, guys. Happy Life Day!
Yay, Wookie Life Day. So this is the celebration of Wookie Life Day episode. We had already gone through our own celebration, and I recorded a little bit of a video, and we'll do that in just a second. Let's talk about what's going to be going on the show. At the very top of the show, you saw our intro with Jawa, the I Am a Scruffy Looking Nerf Herder intro. That was amazing. You can submit your own. Send an email, send your video to I've got to find my email because I don't remember what it is. infernalbrotherhood@gmail.com.
gmail.com.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
I totally forgot because I don't know. It'll come to us if you send it to us.
Yeah.
And we will put it at the top of the show.
Especially if you're in costume.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. You come in as like a tauntaun with Luke Skywalker crawling in you.
Do it.
That would be badass. Or Han Solo cutting you open. That'd be badass.
How
How have you been, man?
Oh, can't complain. Been busy with all this lovely holiday stuff going on. Glad I can finally sit down and relax.
Yeah.
How have you been?
This is not the place for it, but I had the worst day yesterday. It was actually a really good day. We celebrated my son's birthday, but the circumstances, like the car got a flat tire literally out in the middle of nowhere.
Oh.
Waited hours for help to get out there because even my spare was flat. So it was just a total nightmare of for me. They had tons of fun, but awesome, good for them. I'm still processing. That's why I have this to help me process. No, we're talking about Star Wars. We're talking about Life Day. There's so much news that has come out. I don't really want to dive into all of it right now. What I would like to do is sit back and relax and enjoy a little Life Day video. What do you think about that?
Oh, yes. Let's do it.
Okay.
Roll it.
Roll the tape.
If you can remember.
Yeah.
That's it, I'm turning back. I know your family's waiting. I know it's an important day. All right, we'll give it a try. I'll set your coordinates. I won't jump far. I'll get you back there in time, pal. Trust me. Our only hope now is to outrun that Imperial garbage scow, though. I'm going to Lightspeed. That's the spirit. You'll be celebrating Life Day before you know it. Stand by. Here's where we say goodbye to our unpleasant friends.
I'm headed over to get Colin. We're going to be watching the Star Wars Holiday Special on Life Day. Let's check this out. That's me. Life Day!
Happy Life Day!
To Wookie Life Day, may we enjoy life and happiness and grow as much hair in our different parts as possible.
Hopefully. Oh, yeah.
Happy Life Day.
Wait, we gotta... I've never seen this before.
Who likes Life Day? Who likes Wookie Life Day? Do you like Wookie Life Day? Do you like Wookie Life Day?
Cameron,
Hey.
can you inform those watching who may not be aware how Life Day started?
It started in 1978 after the release of the film. George Lucas decided to capitalize on it and make a little one-off TV show, special hour. Oh God, it's horrible. We were
Star
introduced.
Wars Holiday Special.
Oh God, yes, Life Day. Life Day was started by Wookiees on Kashyyyk, obviously, because that's where they're from. And yeah, it's.
Did you know that?
I was vaguely aware of it. They would celebrate around the life tree.
Yes. I mean, their lives are. And let's see, what day is it? It's the 17th, right?
Yes.
Yes, November 17th.
Now, even though it's not really canon right now...
Okay. I'm gonna argue that.
Oh, shit.
Because Lucasfilms has gone on point of saying that the only thing canon are the new novels and all of film and television. So, that means Life Day needs to be fucking canon. Or the holiday special needs to be canon. And the Ewok Adventures, that shit's canon too. I will argue that to death.
Well, I'm excited to watch this. Have you ever watched the Holiday Special?
I don't believe so.
You're
Maybe as a
in-
child.
You're in for a treat.
Oh, come
You will
in.
not forget it. Have you ever seen the Star Wars Holiday Special?
No.
Apparently someone has.
You guys have first aid.
It's magical.
So I still don't know shit about Life Day. It was a struggle to watch that. It's probably the third time I've watched it start to finish, and I was hoping that doing it with friends this time would make it bearable. It wasn't. Like, I want to kill myself now. It's that bad. I mean, Jefferson Starship's in it, so that's a thing. And there's a monster in my pocket. But watch the holiday special. You have to do it. If you're a Star Wars fan, you have to do it. It's almost as bad as midi-chlorians. Almost as bad. But it was fun. It was fun. The Kenner commercials, that's where it's at. Seeing those toys. Yeah. Happy Life Day, people.
Dear God, what did I just watch? What was this? I honestly can't describe it. It was like wading through treacle. Was it ever going to end? It was like blew up the Millennium Falcon already just to end this pain. And also, it's like those movies that were 3 days, like put on your glasses now. This should have been take LSD now. Fuck, we even had to talk about politics to liven it up. It was that much of a struggle. Like, who did this? Why did they hate us so much? I can now understand the prequels after watching this. George Lucas watched this and went, never again. I'm in control, I'm doing everything, nobody says a word to me. I now understand. George Lucas, I forgive you. I do, you have my forgiveness. I have hated you for so many years. And now I understand where you're coming from. Yeah, something about Wookiees, they got there eventually. Fuck me. Like, the stormtroopers were still in the house. Why were they still in the house? One room, like what the fuck? 45 minutes of stormtroopers standing in our house.
Why? B. Arthur was brilliant. Brilliant. If you've ever watched The Golden Girls, there's no other reason to watch this show than simply to see her herding a bunch of insanely inebriated aliens out of her cantina, which I don't even think she's the owner of. She's just a really dedicated employee, which, employee of the month, I mean, good job. Not good. I mean, not even remotely. If you like Star Wars, not good. You should never, ever, ever watch this. But if you do, not sober, do yourself a favor. You know, you should have a little bit of sense of self-worth to at least be inebriated. On the border of puking before turning this on, I think. Other than that, I loved it. You should check it out. It's been a weird experience. Happy Life Day.
Happy Life.
Yeah, happy Life Day.
Should we do it again every year?
Every fucking year.
We need drugs. I think we need drugs.
Legal.
Yes, legal drugs.
No, I wasn't saying that. Trust me.
It's a chore, but it's a fun chore because we love star stuff.
Star things.
Yep.
Star things are good.
Stormtroopers are cool. Nice one.
They ransack Wookiee houses with.
Know how to hold their goddamn E11s. Who the fuck holds an E11?
Grab the magazine.
The power pack. This shit heats up, man.
Amateur.
Yeah, if you want to see Wookiees beat one off, yeah, this is your view.
That is all you need to know to watch this.
Yes.
You want to
It
see
happens.
old Wookiee do things to himself?
Yeah, that's...
An hour and 57 minutes to it.
Of the kids or something.
I don't think it was appropriate to have my wife mentioning the kids in the background of that.
Whatever, my kids were on screen, so...
That's true. Your
That
kid
was
was
fair.
very happy on screen. I love your kids. They're great.
Yeah, Tootie's a cutie.
I've genuinely had a good time though. Like even though like halfway through the movie, or maybe even not even halfway, we started other conversations.
Yeah.
It was just sort of a backdrop to the conversation.
You know you're bored when you start discussing politics.
We really were. We were getting into it too.
Oh, we were. The wives were not too happy with the conversations being had. I think they just kind of tuned it all out.
Yeah. They went to their happy place inside.
Yeah. It was fun though. I loved doing it.
I did too, and your outfit is awesome.
Yeah, I know. I have to keep showing it off. I love the sleeves. They're so much fun.
You could totally
'Cause
do,
Life
like, the
Day!
arm in. It flaps.
Yeah.
No,
One of those
Janet, it was
costumes.
good.
One of those costumes the wife said I'd never use ever again. I fooled her.
Aha, he showed you. Well, as much as we loved Life Day, we don't want to focus to this episode on Life Day. Next month's episode is going to be just about the release, and so leading up to it, of course, the holiday special, which is Life Day. We wanted to make sure to fit that into this year, and so it just fit perfectly. November 17th, Life Day. We do the Life Day episode at the end of November. But because the new episode's coming out, because so much of the gap between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens has been released through comic books, through novels, through video games now, with Battlefront 2 specifically, we're going to talk about Operation Cinder. So you played the video game. I have not.
I did. It is amazing. Like, plenty of vomit-inducing X-Wing fighting. It's been a blast. And the campaign's great. There's an amazing campaign.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, that's the whole reason why I didn't like the first one, or the re-release, whatever. The first one, that's what I'm going to call it, was... You know, they were talking about the whole lead-up of the Battle of Jakku, where once the movie came out, there was going to be the DLC. And I'm like, all right, you know what? I'll get blown up a few 100,000 times, and then play a little bit of a campaign, and it just wasn't a campaign, so I ended up getting rid of it. But this campaign, it's good. It's short, it's sweet. I mean, I beat it in like 4 hours, I think.
Oh, really?
But it's good. It's good. A lot of good story in it.
So do you think it's worth the price of admission?
Oh hell yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful, and I mean, who doesn't want to fly an X-wing or a TIE pilot or a TIE fighter? It's just a blast.
Yeah. One thing that I'm always I don't have a console that can handle the new one, so I was looking to see if it was going to be on PC, which I would be able to play if it were, but it's not.
Yes, not yet.
Yeah. So I'm definitely not going to be playing it. But I've been watching reviews of the video game since it's been out, little cutscenes that we're going to be talking about or showing here shortly as we're having a conversation about Operation Cinder. And it looked like it wasn't like a singular narrative, right? You're hopping into different characters.
Yeah, I mean, it's all obviously the same through line, but it is nice because you start off as Iden, forget her name, last name.
Versio.
There we go, Versio. Yeah, so you start off with her, and the whole Inferno squad basically take place right at the Battle of Andor. Like, pretty much you're landing on planet as the Death Star goes, and you actually watch it happen. It's
Talk about shit timing.
Like,
or perfect.
Yeah, the way they had it set up, it was amazing because you felt the drop of emotion, just like, oh shit, that's my boss.
Did you read the Inferno Squad book before you played the game?
No, I didn't know there was an Inferno Squad book. I suck, man. I have not read any of the new canon.
Yep.
It's horrible.
Yep. I read the book, but I didn't play the game, and so I know all about Inferno Squad, all the different characters, her torrid relationship. Well, actually, her good relationship with her father, but how it turns sour in the spoiler alert in the game.
Yeah.
We are going to be covering spoilers in this, so if you know nothing about it and you don't want to know anything, don't watch us. You're probably not watching us anyway, but don't if you are. Probably.
For years down the road, when you have no life and you decide to watch this, if you haven't played the game, spoilers. Sorry.
It is.
But it's shit you need to know anyways. It's all leading up to the new film, which is amazing.
It's true, and this is what I think is so amazing about these. Well, let me say this. It's frustrating as a fan of Star Wars that you have to be informed about comics, books, and video games in order to understand the entirety of the Star Wars universe, of its current story and timeline. That part is frustrating, but Disney is brilliant in breaking it up like that. What's that?
Could be worse. Could be LFL before Disney acquired them, because you had the video games, the comic books, the novels, the kids' books, sticker books, card packs. Like, you didn't understand shit unless you bought everything that came out.
Yeah.
So I'll give Disney that. They're at least they're making the timeline a lot easier to follow.
And consistent, like crazy consistent with everything. That's another really wonderful thing. They did an amazing job with the Marvel property. And I was worried initially when they took over the Star Wars. But with what they've been doing, I mean, hats off to them, because the story group, the Star Wars story group, is stellar. They are they're pulling the best, everything they can from Legends, and they're crafting this really original narrative that if you were a fan of the Legends version of Star Wars universe, you still get to have these moments like Thrawn that are exciting and new. And even, to some extent, even though it's not the same way as in Legends, but, you get to see Kylo Ren take the form of Darth Caedus a little bit here, where he's sort of like the big bad guy, the son of
the Torn bad guy.
Yeah.
So that's actually that's interesting. You bring up Caedus, like that's what I'm reading right now is Legacy, like right as he's starting to turn. That's a great series.
It really is. And here's one thing that I would say: if you're a reader, and I think everyone has to be a reader. If you're not already, you should force yourself into it, because it's something it's not just good because you get to learn things, in the Star Wars universe, but your vocabulary, as obviously mine hasn't, but your vocabulary expands, your brain develops, the benefit of reading is so much more than just the story itself.
You live it. It's amazing.
That's
and you
why
retain it a lot easier too.
Yeah. Especially if you're actually paying attention when you're reading.
Yeah, that usually helps. Not just looking at words.
Yeah, like word. I read a page. Word. That's what I loved about like growing up. The movie The Neverending Story, is it reignited this passion for reading in me, and it was because of that I actually read the Lewis Carroll Alice in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass books, and I started down this whole new path of sort of the classics in literature because specifically of that movie, which was exciting. You know, it really illustrated the idea that you were within that world. And of course you have to be able to have an imagination. You have to be able to sort of suspension of disbelief, and not everyone's capable of that, I don't think. But for those of us who can, and those who can't, you can develop it. I definitely suggest you go back and read those legends. And I'm sort of long way around to my point, because there is such great Star Wars content in there. Even though it's not official anymore, it's still entertaining as hell. And I gotta tell you, the post Return of the Jedi stuff out there, I mean, it's amazing. It's really
Killer.
Good. Yeah.
Killer.
Okay, so let's talk about Operation Cinder.
Yes, on point.
Yes. I totally deviated. That was my bad. I'm going to show some cutscenes, and because I haven't seen the video game, or I haven't played the video game, and I don't really fully understand where these cutscenes come to play, I just know that it's centered around Operation Cinder. Can you tell the audience what Operation Cinder is and how it relates to the game itself?
Okay, so Operation Cinder basically takes point right as the Emperor dies. I believe we discussed in the last episode where post-mortem, the whole idea of the First Order going to the unknown regions, that was basically Palpatine being like, I'm dead, you guys suck, rebuild, so start everything over. Well, basically, Operation Cinder is the first front of it where they're going through and destroying their enemies and trying to like destroy different parts of collections that the Emperor had, because they didn't want anybody to get a hold of it, especially like the ancient Sith relics, because Palpatine understood that if anybody got a hold of it, good or bad, it's going to turn what he was trying to create. And God, alright, so I stayed up all night just to download this damn game. The moment that I saw this messenger droid, I had goosebumps. Like, I'm still getting goosebumps just looking at it. It's just so badass. It is. And then when it cuts out and yells, that's dope. Okay, so anyways, the beginning of this cutscene. Yeah. Sorry. This is basically, this is right after Papa Palpatine died, and Iden got called back to her father's flagship to go out with Inferno Squad to start the Operation Cinder. So that's what we're watching right now.
Operation Cinder itself is a means of sort of just payback, right?
Pretty much, and part to destroy stuff that Palpatine decided he didn't want anybody else to have. Now, one thing I do want to say about this, I love this game. I did. It's beautiful. It's amazing. But God damn it, some of the little details on the costumes. I mean, only douchey snobs like me notice this. But his fucking code disc on his hat was upside down. like what fucking kind of admiral is going to have an upside down head? It's just stupid. Okay, so this part, this is where they're going to collect. God, the name's eluding me right now. But basically, somebody that raised the clones and all that stuff, taught loyalty, blah blah blah. Because obviously, the Empire, at least what's left of it, doesn't want that person, falling into the rebels' hands.
That's interesting to me. I didn't know about the destruction of the relics. Like, I've read the books and comics, and so I understand from that perspective. But they never really explained the reason why Palpatine wanted to destroy the artifacts that he'd collected.
Yeah. Well, basically, I mean, it's a it's a spoiled kid. I mean, I can't play with my toys. Why the hell should anybody else? I mean, of course, it's a lot more complex than that, and changing the balance of the Force and what have you. But
Yeah.
It's ultimately what it boils down to.
Well, this is what I really loved about it. So, for everyone sort of tuning in here, Operation Cinder, well, you have to really understand where Emperor Palpatine's head was. So, for his entire life, he had a passion for ancient Sith knowledge and just ancient knowledge of the Force. And he had collected more artifacts than anyone ever had before him of knowledge of the Force, both light side and dark side. And he was using it to test. He was experimenting on it. And then he started getting these messages from the unknown region that he didn't fully understand and he couldn't grasp. And so he set outposts all throughout the galaxy to observe the unknown regions. And so he was in a constant state of study, which you never understand if you just watch the movies. And I don't even think you fully grasp if you're only getting it from the novels. Because, like I had mentioned just now, I had read the novels, the Aftermath novels, that specifically talked about the result of Operation Cinder, but it didn't ever talk about his motivations. And so I think that's kind of a key point, because there's a point in the books, and this is a spoiler for people, I think we talked about it last month, where on Jakku there's a listening outpost that is going to be destroyed, and it's sort of the last staging point of not only the destruction of these artifacts, but also of the Empire itself. And it's where they then travel to the outer regions, and that's where they reinvent themselves into the First Order. But he was going to destroy the planet by throwing these ancient artifacts, not him, but his proxy, by throwing these ancient Sith artifacts into this sort of cavernous heart of the planet, this sort of tunnel to the heart of the planet. And of course it didn't happen because we have The Force Awakens on Jakku. But
well, part of it too, it wasn't just to dump the relics and stuff. It was actually to essentially destroy the planet with dark side artifacts to pretty much make an explosion of dark side energy, because the planet was so strong with dark side powers to begin with that would have essentially been an overloading it.
So
which
that's interesting.
I think you get this from the game. Yeah.
It never
Pretty
really
sure you
fully
get it from the
understood
game.
it.
I think that's. Yeah.
It drove me crazy, because I was like, why would he want it all destroyed? Why wouldn't he want some future Sith to come across it and then, turn it to their own use and control the galaxy? It seems like that is the Sith tradition of maintaining your artifacts, not destroying them, so that future generations of Sith can discover them. And in fact, there's an entire now legacy, but I have a feeling they're going to be bringing it back. This idea of imbuing your essence within artifacts.
Yeah.
So that you can kind of live forever.
I think they're called Horcruxes.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Potter reference for everyone.
I like how you just accept it. Like, oh yeah, that sounds about right.
But it kind of is, though.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
You can't argue it.
No.
Here's a little force tree. Is that what that is? Or is that?
It's a tree.
It's just a tree. I had mentioned that because in the comics, at the very last of the Journey to the Force Awakens comic series, it's a 4-comic bit, where the last one is Luke infiltrating ISB facility, and the point is that it harbors some ancient Sith relics and stuff, and the 2 remaining stems of the tree, the Force tree that existed on Coruscant. That's where Palpatine was keeping it and testing, sort of running tests on these Force plants. And so Luke went there, collected both of them, took one with him, and gave one to one of the other characters, who was then the parent of Poe Dameron, which is coincidentally why Poe Dameron's so good at flying, is that he grew up around a Force-sensitive tree, and so I think he became Force-sensitive because of that.
See, that's all right. It's a little sidebar. Like, I wonder how they're gonna play that out with the Force, because they're talking about making it something completely different than what we understand. Like, I wonder if it's... Well, I wonder, because it's always... The Force has always been something you were born with. Mm-hmm. Like, the dreaded M word. You either have them or you don't. And with just, like, little articles and stuff I've seen.
And
yes, moms. Yes, moms.
Not midi-chlorians, moms.
No, damn those midi-chlorians. But yeah, I read some stuff that they were going to change, like, how we perceive the Force, and it's, like... It kind of blew my mind if you could just pick it up from being around other forces that can use the Force.
It is interesting. I mean,
changes 31 years of my life and understanding, but whatever.
Yeah. And here's the thing, though, because they were saying that forever everyone had midichlorians. It's just whether or not you had a large enough amount or you were able to tune into them. And so I think they're just now taking it a step further, saying, well, different cultures tap into it in different ways, and by increased exposure, you have an increased ability to tap into it, or maybe something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's never been a full
makes sense, I guess.
Explanation, but
yeah.
So we had just shown the cutscene where it had the satellites shooting this not force energy, but just energy into the planet. What was the point of that?
That was just the beginning of Operation Cinder. It's just to destroy planets, to really disrupt the populace, and basically make the Allies really mad at the Allies for not protecting them. Yeah. Basically, it's the Emperor kicking people, like, after he already tripped them, type of thing.
And it's amazing to me that after the Empire officially fell, they were still clinging on as much as they could. And why wouldn't they? I mean, they're a galactic powerhouse. Just because one dude who was running it at the time dies, why would the entire powerhouse have to die? Reform under new...
That's one thing that the Admiral actually talks about at the end of the game. Again, spoiler alerts. When he's talking to his daughter, she asks basically why, and he tells her, he's like, "I've been doing this all my life. This is the only thing I have. You leave. You take what you can, because at this point, at the end of the game, she's already, like, her and other guy." Can't remember his name for the life of me. I've only played through once, so I don't remember everything because I'm an idiot. But yeah, basically it's this whole little heart-to-heart, and he says that, and then they leave, take what they can back to the Rebel Alliance, and go about their merry way. But it's like, from that point, it makes sense as to why people would still cling on to it, because it's like, well, shit, that's been my entire life. Yeah, my boss is dead, but I don't know anything else. I can't go back to anything else, because this is it.
Not to mention, it's a complex understanding of the realities of the Empire. I mean, people were raised into this. They didn't see all the dirty underbelly. They just knew that there is now a stability, and history explained that there before it wasn't stability in the galaxy. And so they honestly believed the propaganda, the truth that you were born into. Why wouldn't you? You have no reason not to unless you see it firsthand. And that's what I think is so interesting about this story in and of itself, is that the Rebel Alliance is very much a terrorist cell. And they're...
Oh, absolutely.
they're doing really bad things to the Empire. And in some cases, if you're in, like, Saw Gerrera's group, they don't care if you're an innocent bystander or not. They're still trying to make a point. And so it varies in its effectiveness. There's various cells of terrorism against the Galactic Empire. And it, like, to your point, if you were raised in this, if this is all you knew, why would you think it was a bad thing, one? And why would you just stop if the Emperor died? It wouldn't make sense for everyone to stop. And especially for a character like Iden Versio, where her entire life was trying to please her father, and she ran multiple missions. She infiltrated a terror cell, and spoiler alert, she destroyed the last Saw Gerrera terrorist cell. That was her team that did that.
Oh shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah, oops.
No, that's fine. Like, I am so far behind on these books. Like, the way I look at it, it's same with movies. If it's been out for more than a month and I don't know it, it's my own fucking fault for not knowing it.
I agree. It's your fault.
Yeah.
No, but
I mean, with movies, I usually tell people 2 weeks, but still, I'm of the mindset it's a month that I have to read a book.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then.
It is a great book if you ever get a chance to go back to it. Yeah, the connection is a little in and out, but I think it's good. So what I loved about that is
I'm still here.
Okay, I'm going to go to the comics here. So this is just some screens of the comic, but it shows the on the ground results of those satellites shooting down. So I had read this before I ever even saw The Force Awakens, and what I thought was interesting is in the 4 issues, it only addresses Operation Cinder in 2 and like a 10th of the issues. But and so I didn't think of it as a really heavy, complex, masterful plan. I thought it was like a foolish plan that they enacted poorly. But in reality, they actually did a really they destroyed planets, like straight up.
Yeah.
I mean, Naboo was saved, but that was
Barely.
Yeah, but it was just because Lando came in at the last second and rescued Princess Leia and Miss Dameron. I can't remember the mom's name.
Know what? I was a part of that battle, and it wasn't Lando that fucking saved them. It was them that saved them. He just showed up like he usually does.
Yeah.
All suave and shit.
I gotta be honest, when he showed up, though, I was just like, yes! Yes! I love him so much.
All right, so back to the game. Playing as Lando alone is reason enough to spend $60 on a game. Just so everybody knows. It is as awesome as it seems.
I love that character so much.
Oh, yeah.
He's great.
What's not to love?
But I did like the idea that these satellites were disrupting the ecosystems, causing hurricanes and fires and lightning to be shooting out of the sky and completely eviscerating the planet's surface. And that it was successful on some planets. And so this is an execution of a plan that surpassed virtually anything the Empire did before it. Because they were always thwarted by the terrorists before that point. I mean, I shouldn't say always, because there was quite a few.
Let's say Alderaan kind of just went splody. I don't think it was a complete fucking failure.
Yeah. No.
And Scarif. I mean, come on, man. They tried. We don't get to read those stories because nobody's like, ooh, yay, the bad guys are winning. Except for jerk-offs like me.
I like to see it too, so it's not just you. I'm with you. I just thought it was interesting seeing the planetary side effects of the satellites and knowing that even in death, he has a way, Palpatine, of reaching in and destroying and crushing this galaxy like no one else has ever been able to do. Do you think ultimately Operation Cinder was a success or failure?
It was a success. From my understanding of what it was, it's... Oh, am I still here?
Yeah.
You still here? Okay. There we are. All right. So, yeah, from my understanding of what Operation Cinder was, again, really the only stuff I know is just a couple little articles I've read and from what I know of the game. Basically, it was just to scramble the hell out of the galaxy to the unknown regions to rebuild the Empire and basically kick sand in people's faces on the way out. And from that understanding, oh, yeah, they totally kicked ass. I mean, obviously, one of the biggest things was to destroy Naboo, because essentially it was eradicating as much of the history of the Emperor as possible. And I mean, what better way to do it than destroy his home world? But yeah, I mean, aside from that and a couple other little thwarted attempts, I think it was a success. Excuse me.
Yeah. I always found it interesting because if you didn't play the video games, if you didn't read the novels or the comic books, you would not know anything about this. And it was such a large footprint that Emperor Palpatine left that I feel like the movies do a disservice to him. Like, they never really fully show the magnitude of his power at all. And the only way to get that is to read the extra content or play the extra content.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And so it's a bit of a cheat. We already had a show based on Palpatine, so I don't want to go, into that again. But do you think that the character will come back in some way again in the future?
I don't know anymore with how they're going with the whole new canon.
Yeah.
Like, I honestly, look at Thrawn. I never thought he was going to come back.
It's true.
And then he did, and I almost had a heart attack. So I could see, if not like a presence, maybe even a clone.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it would be weird if there wasn't more mention of him, at least in this upcoming film. Yeah, I don't know. And it's actually kind of nice to know, or not know.
Yeah, that's true, because then we're sort of back to where we were at the beginning of just not knowing the immensity of this galaxy so well anymore. We're back to where we were as kids. Just discovering it for the first time.
Oh yeah.
I just feel like they're making such a big deal about Palpatine's efforts to set up the observatories, to figure out what was calling to him, alluding that it was Snoke, sending his entire remaining effective force, because he was going to destroy all the rest of the Empire, into the unknown regions to meet up with a previous presence that he already sent out there, and that was the beginning of the First Order, the reimagined, successful version of the Empire. There has to be a mention of him. He set that into motion. That was him.
Oh yeah.
It infuriates me when people are like, "Oh, it's they're redoing the Empire." No. This is a continuity. Like this is not redoing something that existed. He's freshening up. He's forced the Empire to go through this combat scenario that only the strongest will come out of, and by doing that, and hopefully, we don't know because we don't know how much he knew before he died, connecting with this otherworldly presence that is so steeped into the dark side that it's beyond him even, and he was the biggest bad in the territory.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's an immensity that we're not being given, and by not referencing him, it's an insult in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely.
It's crazy. I don't know. I'm hoping this next movie really goes into how revealing more about what that first excursion into the Outer Rim with the Empire manifested, how the First Order connected with Snoke, even though I know it won't, because it's just about fucking Rey and Kylo. And I want to know that background information so badly.
There's always a B story in any movie. I think that will be the B story. Because, I mean, even if you look at The Force Awakens, they had a lot of flashback moments. Granted, they were all Force flashbacks, but still, I mean, who's to say that won't be a much bigger thing in this? Because, I mean, that would just make sense for them to explain, basically to the people that don't read, the people who just go to movies, what's going on and why they need to know it.
Yeah. So, you played as Luke, right?
Yeah, you get to play as, let's see, so obviously Iden, you get to play as her droid, which is pretty cool. He's a cute little dude. I like him. It's like a probe droid, only smaller. I want one so bad.
Probe.
Yeah, I need to build one. So yeah, anyways, you get to play as her, obviously, because that's the main story. You get to play as Luke, Leia, Lando, and yeah, I believe that's it as far as like the main storyline.
Yeah. Was Kylo part of the main storyline?
A little teeny tiny snippet of it, because basically what I was talking about earlier, when Iden disappears to the Resistance again, her father knows that's the end, and he's just taking his flagship down. That's not the end of the game. That's the end of the campaign. But then it flash forwards to right before, because it ends at the Battle of Jakku. Basically, it's like right after that, you play the Battle of Jakku, Jakku, you go up to the flagship. Sorry, I'm getting it backwards. This is all like 2, 3 in the morning playing the video game stuff, so it's a little hazy. But yeah, so basically right after the Battle of Jakku and all that stuff happens, flash forwards to God, what was it, like right before The Force Awakens. So basically, it sets up the premise of why Kylo Ren knew where to go to find the old man that had the star map.
Oh, okay.
Like, because basically he goes looking for Iden because she had the map, but she's gone somewhere, finds the husband, blah, 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 gets this information to find the star map. And then that's how the campaign ends.
So I'm interested to hear your take on this, because I've heard some YouTubers who have played the game and they have the idea that Rey is the daughter of Ida and her partner, whose name eludes me at the moment.
Yeah, it's same here. You know, to be perfectly honest, I didn't make the connection.
Okay. But
that would make perfect sense. Because I mean, it's a real quick diatribe between Kylo Ren and Dude Face. But just even that's his new name, Dude Face. But yeah, I mean, just in the little bit of dialogue that they have, like, you can tell there's a lot of tension, a lot of sorrow behind him, and not just because the galaxy's always at war. Like, his wife's not there, his kids aren't there, so it could be. We won't know yet.
Yeah. Well,
I definitely have to play that.
Yeah, I tend to think it isn't, because after The Force Awakens was released, the actress who plays Rey was being asked if she feels like people should know who her parents were, and she said that she genuinely thought that it was revealed. Like, she thought it was obvious, but people still didn't know. And so, because they weren't even anything, a blip on the screen in The Force Awakens, I don't think that they have anything to do with their parentage. So unless Rian Johnson is completely reimagining the original story, which I don't think he is, then her parents were somehow outed, at least to the actress playing her, Daisy Ridley, in The Force Awakens. So I can't think that they would switch it up and just add it to only a video game. Because then, if you're an audience member who only watches the movies, that would make no sense.
Oh, yeah.
You'd be like, who the fuck are
Well, and to be fair, we don't know, at least I don't know, whether she's using the context of the film that we know, or parts of the film that they filmed, but they never aired.
Good point.
Because there's going to be so much B-roll after every film that you don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, God, look at Empire. That ending, nobody knew. They all thought it was bullshit.
Yeah. that's a really good point.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, all of this leads up, and the reason why I asked about Luke is because we're leading up to The Last Jedi, and we're going to finally learn a little bit about my personal favorite character of the entire series, Luke Skywalker. Were there any reveals from the game that you think were worth mentioning, or that would lead into anything?
I honestly don't think so. Basically what happened, again, Dude Face, because I really should have. Okay, so I've got a notebook right here that I make notes on, just for shows. I didn't bother to write down any of the character names. Anyway, so that guy, he ends
but you
up
got
going,
your Wookie Life Day robe, so.
Hell yeah. Duh.
Is that?
Yeah, God, I shouldn't have wore it. It's pretty hot. Especially because my heater vent's right here. It's blowing up the skirt, as I'm not dripping with sweat. Okay, anyways, so that guy, he goes to a planet that's one of Palpatine's strongholds, where he kept a lot of relics. Like, you actually see the storage room, and it's just fucking amazing. But yeah, the whole premise is he goes there to destroy it, and Luke found out about it because at this point, he's, because this is like a month or two after the Battle of Endor, so he's just going through trying to find anything he can because he wants to rebuild the Order. And yeah, so he comes across the planet at the same time Dude does, and basically they just make it to the strongholds. I forget what it was that Luke took. I think it was a holochrome. Don't quote me on that. Again, play at 2, 3 in the morning and you don't remember shit. But yeah, that's it. That's all we got of Luke. I mean, it was fun. His force powers are pretty sweet, but I mean, if it's kind of grasping for straws, but maybe the holochrome has some sort of significance in this upcoming movie, but I really don't think there's any significance. I think it was just like, how are we going to get Luke Skywalker into this game? Oh yeah, kill the Flood. That's,
nice.
Yeah, it's a Halo reference if anybody plays Halo. Yeah.
I'm sure there's gonna be some.
That's straight up what I thought those damn bugs that were guarding the stronghold was. Like, it's like, what the fuck is
really?
the Flood doing in the Star Wars
Halo.
universe?
Why is Halo in this?
This is a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. This isn't in the future.
Well, it's our future, which is Halo, which is a long time ago because of time dimensional shifts, and yeah, it matches up. Just don't think about it.
Yeah. Makes perfect sense if you don't think about
As long as you don't think about it. Oh man! So looking forward to next month. We've got the movie coming out, the one movie that everyone's so crazy, and it's supposed to be very explicit on who the parents of Rey are, if that matters to you as an individual. What are you looking forward to most about this upcoming movie?
Honestly, I got to do a marathon.
Oh, really?
I mean, the movie itself, there's basically, I'm excited to hopefully find out who the hell Snoke is. Hopefully he's the Force that Palpatine was going after. I mean, that's kind of makes sense. That's what it has to be, but again, we don't know. But yeah, I got to do a double feature, so I got to play hooky.
Nice.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Nice. Yeah, I'm going to go on opening night. I don't have my tickets yet, but I don't care where I have to sit. I'm going to see it on opening night. And then just so everyone watching this knows, next episode is going to be after, and we're going to be covering spoilers. So
It's the 2-week limit, so you have 2 weeks.
be prepared. Done.
And really, if you're listening to us and you're not planning on seeing the movie opening weekend,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
What's wrong with you? There's something fundamentally wrong with you.
There is.
Well, I've had fun with this, man.
Me too. Even with all the internet connection issues. It's been
Yeah.
fun.
Well, it wasn't so bad at all. I wouldn't mind doing this more than just once a month, but that's something that we would have to try to work out because I do enjoy talking about this stuff.
We could probably make it happen.
Okay.
Totally make it happen.
Let's have that conversation offline.
Definitely.
For everyone watching, for the one person joining us in chat, hi Jen. Thank you so much for watching the show.
Yes,
If you could like the channel, subscribe to it, click that little bell icon, you're going to be notified every time a new live show comes out. But we're always going to have a live show on the 4th Sunday of every month at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So tune in live and join us through the chat and geek out with us and correct us for all of our mistakes and shows.
Especially next month.
Yeah.
Next month, what's better than spending Christmas Eve with us instead of your family?
It is going to be Christmas Eve, people.
And I don't care. We're fucking doing it.
It is going to happen, and it's only for an hour, so I'm okay.
I mean, we could make it go longer if people want to avoid their families. I'm fine with that. I want to avoid mine too.
Hey, Star Wars is more important than anything.
Yeah, exactly. Except for wives that are nice enough to let their husbands indulge in Star Wars.
It's true. All right, well, make sure you guys let us know what you think, and if you'd like to submit your own I am a Scruffy Looking Nerf Herder, we'd appreciate it. Send it to, what's the email address again?
theinfernalbrotherhood @gmail.com.
All right. It should be in the show notes. So
It'll
just
be in
look
the show
there.
notes.
don't listen to me because I don't know. Well, my Scruffy Looking Nerf Herder friend, thank you. And
Hey, you.
I just stepped all over you. I'm sorry. Until we can speak of Star Wars again, may the Force be with you, people.
Sorry about the mess.